Hello and welcome to A Little Crafting. My name is Annie and this is my video podcast where I talk about all of the things that I have been making, which includes a lot of things but primarily knitting, and then I dabble in a lot of other bits and pieces like yarn dyeing, spinning, embroidery, sewing and so on and so forth, whatever takes my fancy at the time. It has been a really long time since I last recorded, so today is the 8th of January and I record from my home in Surrey in the United Kingdom, which is just southwest of London. It's 2025 now. I haven't recorded, I don't think, since June 2024. But I've been on hiatus because I had a baby in September. So I have a 3-month-old daughter who is currently sleeping just to one side of me. I'm taking the opportunity while she has her nap to record this episode. I'm also going to do a life update at some point, but I feel like I'm going to have too much to talk about to put it just at the end of a regular podcast or an irregular podcast. So I am going to record a separate episode and then pop that up on my channel. So if you're not interested, you don't have to watch it, but I'm going to talk a lot about the realities of pregnancy, birth, looking after a baby and all of that, and the challenges that I have been through, as well as the kind of rewarding aspects too. But without further ado, let's get on to some crafting content rather than me rambling on about that. So first of all, what am I wearing? And I am wearing the Boho Mosaic cardigan, which is a pattern by Irene Lynn. It is perfect for the weather that we currently have at the moment in the UK. It is absolutely freezing. In the southeast it's not actually snowing right now, but it's really cold. I've decided not to go out for the day today, and I am just cozying up inside in this lovely cozy cardigan. I have to admit I don't wear it a lot because it is very oversized and very warm, but like I said, perfect for this kind of weather. I'll stand up a little bit so you can see. So yeah, it's huge. This was knit in Dererum Natura Gilliatt, which is one of my favourite yarns ever, and yeah, I think it took 7 balls of the blue, and then obviously I've got the detail of the mosaic work there, which are in Joyland probably is the grey, and then my all-time favourite Poivre Blanc will be the ecru colour with a bit of mottling. What I would like to do with this is currently I've got it attached with a shawl pin. This is one that my friend made for me. Her company is Circle and Dash. I'll link in the description below. But I would actually like a belt for this because I feel like I'll wear it more. So making it more like a big cozy dressing gown I can just throw on, tie up and be nice and chilled out at home in. I just think that will keep it together better, especially because it is so oversized. It's been a long time since I knit this, but I think if I was to knit it again, I'd do it in a smaller size. I have a big tension issue in terms of knitting, as in I knit very loosely, so things typically will end up too big rather than too small. But that does mean I need to adjust accordingly, and I probably wasn't doing that when I knit this. So yeah, that is what I am wearing. Let's go into finished objects, and I have to say I haven't knit or done any crafting very much in the last 9 months. During pregnancy I was quite tired, more tired than I expected. The days were fine, it was just that the evenings I just couldn't really manage doing that much, which was my crafting time, unfortunately. So let's get started. So some of these I'll have shown before, other ones will be brand new, but let's go to finished objects. So the first thing I want to show you is the Norwegian Fir top down cardigan, and this is it. So I'll do up the buttons actually. So this was knit in Alpaca Soxx by Lang yarns, which I think is more of a sport weight yarn, and it's really lovely and soft. I decided on this yarn because I really wasn't sure whether I would get this cardigan out of one skein of DK, and this one had 150 grams in the skein, sorry, in the ball, and I would have definitely got this little cardigan out of 100 grams of DK. I don't know why I was so worried, but this is really, really lovely and soft. My daughter has been wearing it. It is kind of one of those really lovely little patterns. I will pop a picture in here of her wearing it. I'll cover her face just because I want her to decide whether she wants to be a part of this podcast when she's older and not put her in it without her permission. And yeah, it's just really, really lovely. It's a really nice, easy knit. I will probably make more of these in a bigger size, calculating exactly how much I need, and not just going with, oh, I'm not sure I can get any, get it out of 100 grams. And the patterning is really beautiful. You've probably seen a lot of these, but highly recommend the pattern. It's garter stitch, so quite nice and straightforward, knit flat, and then you it's a raglan construction, and it looks super, super cute. I've chosen generally quite neutral colours for all of the baby knits that I do, just because then I know it will go with everything. And the plus side of knitted garments for babies is that they're quite stretchy, so yeah, really easy to get on, which really helps. Something that in practical terms is quite useful, I've discovered. Unfortunately, crochet typically is not that stretchy. So we have got a couple of crochet items that have been gifted to us that are really difficult to get over a baby's arms. But yeah, that is finished object number 1. I don't know how long ago I finished it. I think it must have been in the summer sometime. I'll double check if I've got the date and pop it in the description below so that you can have a look. I don't mention needle sizes on here, mainly because, like I said, I knit very loosely, so I wouldn't recommend that you copy my needle sizes or pay very much attention to them at all. So yeah, I'll tend to talk about the project, but not so much the needle size. Next up, this is one that I don't actually have with me because it's been gifted. So a couple of my colleagues also had babies at the same time, effectively a week apart from me, and I wanted to knit a baby blanket for one of them. Unfortunately didn't get it done before September, but I did gift it for Christmas, so that's all done. I knit it in Paintbox Yarns Aran, which is 100% acrylic. And I've used this before for a baby blanket a long time ago, about 8 years ago, and that time I found it really nice. This time, I don't know, there's either the way that I washed it or something, it just, I never lost that whole plasticky feel, and it felt quite rigid in a lot of ways. Maybe my tension was too tight, but I don't think it was that. So I'm a little bit disappointed with the yarn after this project. I'll pop a picture up here as well whilst I talk about it. But overall, the project was the Droplet Blanket by Pearl Soho. What I did was I just did the droplets on one edge, and then I knit a 3x1 rib for the rest of it. And you know, absolutely lovely pattern, really nice looking. I think it looks very professional. The pattern itself doesn't look like a typical handmade blanket. The recipient absolutely loved it, but I am disappointed with the yarn. So I think I won't go back to using that unless anyone has any tips or suggestions if you've had some experience in using that particular yarn. Like I said, I thought it was a really nice yarn before. Maybe they've changed the way they manufacture it. It's been a long time, so it's possible. So that is another finished object. And then something else that I just needed to finish the brim on is this grow hat. So this is a pattern by Fibre Tales, who is Lerger, and it is the grow hat, and I've made 2 of these. I absolutely love this pattern. It is addictive, it is intricate enough to be holding my attention, but at the same time not too difficult, and it makes a really lovely hat. The yarn is Grey Sheep Co. It's in the oatmeal base. I can't remember the exact base. I think it's just British wool in DK. And yeah, really suits this type of project. The kind of little leaf and branch details are quite subtle, but you could still see them, which I think is really nice. And again, a nice neutral hat, which I think goes with a lot of things. So I just needed to finish the brim. I basically ran out of yarn and then had to go and buy some more at Unravel Festival last year, and then it still took me months and months to just finish off about an inch at the top. So I have some more of that yarn to use, and I think I'll use it on a colour work project. That's the grow hat. And then I have been making a lot of baby hats. So so as part of preparing to have a baby, generally people like to join an NCT group and you get classes, and then you keep in touch afterwards. So I'm seeing them every week, which is lovely. So there are 6 of us, and for Christmas my husband suggested, oh, why don't you make everybody baby hats, and then all the babies will have a different colour hat but the same. So I'm going to show you my daughter's one that I knit her, would have been again probably about in the summer. So this is hers, and this is the beloved Aran by Solenn Couix-Loarer, and this is my go-to baby hat pattern. So it's a really nice kind of double seed stitch design, and really nice decreases at the top, you can see there, and it's super stretchy, which is really helpful. So I've knit this hat pattern for a long time. Some of the children who received this when they were babies wore them up to sort of 3-4 years old, because it's nice and stretchy. The yarn is Debbie Bliss Cashmerino Aran, and I hope they never stop making this because I'd have to stock up massively, because I always use this yarn for this pattern. Great baby hat. This one's a little bit big still for my daughter at 3 months, so I'm hoping that the other babies will get a lot of wear out of these. And I have 4 out of 5 to show you. So I've got a yellow one, a white one, so that one's going to match my daughter's, a denim-y blue one, and a red one so far. And then there's one more that is a darker blue. I'll show you that one. So kind of segueing into my works in progress, that's the darker blue. I've just done the brim, so I'm going on to the stitch pattern now. And that is a bit of a feat in a way. So yeah, 4 out of 5 hats done. I need to finish the other one off tonight to gift them tomorrow, as that's the first time I'm seeing the group after Christmas. We'll go to a sensory class together. So yeah, quite nice and adaptable. I go up and down needle sizes. I tend to use 2.75mm or 3mm needles for these. I don't bother switching sizes after the brim, and it has not failed me so far. So hopefully these will all fit. I know a couple of the boys actually have quite big heads, so I'm just thinking, fingers crossed, these are stretchy enough that they will fit the babies for the winter. Yeah, really nice hat pattern that I will keep knitting again and again, but I will be done with it for a while after I finish this one, because I've been working the last couple of weeks just trying to get these done whilst I'm feeding my daughter. And she has just woken up. Hello. So without further ado, let's move properly on to works in progress. And I do apologise, the lighting is awful today. It is just going to be awful all the time at the moment. So, got a very smiley face looking at me. Let's see if she keeps quiet for a little while. I am not generally a sock knitter. But I did start these socks a few years ago. I'm pretty sure it's 3 or 4 years ago. And when I was breastfeeding my baby, I realised that I could probably knit something small at the same time. Now, socks end up being absolutely perfect for that. This is the original sock that I knit. So again, some time ago, I knit one sock and I stopped. But I thought I would cast on the second sock, and I have done so. So I've done most of the foot, no, in fact all of the foot. I've got an afterthought heel planned for both, and then part of the cuff, which I'm doing in a kind of slip stitch motif. Now that's all great, and it has been keeping me occupied whilst I've been feeding. But my gauge has loosened up so much more. This is knit on exactly the same needles. Can you see there's about a centimetre extra on the foot? I'm not sure what to do about that. What I want to do is just finish it, because I might as well. And then if need be, I can knit another one. I've got enough yarn for sure. So I'll see if I can do that, but that goes to show, so I knit these on 1.75mm needles. They are like toothpicks. They're so tiny, they're hires. And this is why I'm not a sock knitter. I can physically not go down again in needle size. And your socks need to have negative ease, right? You can't just have really baggy socks. That drives me insane anyway, because I've got very small feet. So I really do have a challenge with sock knitting, and that probably means I won't knit socks again unless they're like super chunky or something, which I have done before. Yeah, so I have that issue, but I will continue and finish these off. I might see if I can felt them slightly, one more than the other, and see if I can get them to roughly the same size so that I can actually wear them. But let's see if that works. I'll keep you updated. Yeah, so it's just a pain. I'm never going to be a sock knitter, I don't think, because of how small the needles have to be, and it's really awkward. Oh well, I'll have to hand over my sock yarn to some people in my craft group who do knit socks. Yes, so sorry I didn't talk about the yarn there. It is West Yorkshire Spinners Silent Night, which is a Christmas colourway that was released when I first knit these a few years ago now. And then I also use Lang Yarn's Jowl for the toe and heel, because it's got the extra nylon bobbin, although that's not in here I don't think. I'm gonna have to find that. So you can reinforce the toes and heels with the nylon thread that's extra, and this I find quite good to use. So yeah, that's the yarn. Absolutely beautiful. Enjoying making socks, but I do have that tension issue that is really making it difficult. and I'll see what I can do about that. Maybe I just knit DK socks in future. We'll see. I'm also keeping this in my Clara Rose crafts bag, but I found out recently that she is no longer selling on Etsy. So yeah, that's a bummer. This is a Beauty and the Beast themed one. I really love it. And I also had my Marauders map one, which is probably one of my favourite craft bags. That's also Clara Rose Crafts. Again, sadly not available anymore. Next up, and I think my final knitting work in progress, is something else for my daughter, but a really nice simple one. She's been really good over there. So I got a little mini skein set. I say little, it wasn't that little, from a company called Woolstok. Let me see if I can grab a label. Oh, sorry. Yeah, Woolstok bundle. It's actually by Blue Sky Fibres. So this is the label for the mini skeins. They are 5-gram mini skeins, and it's the Fire and Ice colourway. And I didn't really know what to do with them. I thought they were really pretty, so I bought them, and then didn't have much of an idea because they are so tiny. Again, I had the ball. Here, so that's 3 of them together. So what I've done is I've tied them together. I wanted to make a really super simple blanket, just as a mindless knit, garter back and forth, and I thought, well, why don't I use this mini skein set? So I'm using them kind of together, so I've got about 15 grams of each colour, and I haven't finished my row because such is motherhood, but this is how it's looking. I'm using my favourite yarn, Dererum Natura Gilliatt, in Poivre Blanc colourway in the centre, and then every 10 rows I'm switching to 2 rows of the colour, and I really love it so far. This is going to be quite a big blanket, I think, and it's so nice. It's so nice to knit. I cast on, I think, 100 stitches. I'll tell you the needle size, even though that probably won't help anyone, 3.75 mils, so it's probably the equivalent of about 5 mils for other people. And I'm just knitting until I run out. And yeah, it's been a lovely cozy project, so I'm going to get back to that one after I finish that last hat, because I want my daughter to be able to use this in the colder months, which is going to be about now. So I'm going to get cracking and make some more of this. I've got another 100 grams on top of the ball that I'm using at the moment, so I think that should be enough. We'll see. It might be that I stop at a point where I go, actually I've had enough of this, and make it a little bit smaller, but for a baby that's okay. This one is in my hide and hammer bag, which is perfect for this size project. I am back from a nappy change. So moving swiftly on to other crafts. I only have one thing to show this time because I've sort of stopped weaving, spinning, yarn dyeing and much else. You can hear the baby chattering in the background, but hopefully that's not too annoying. She's just playing. Last year I got a cross stitch kit from a little place in the Netherlands near where my friends live, and it is called Cursed World, and I think that means Christmas World. So this is the kit. It is by Yoke Trebe Denis, and I have no idea whether I pronounced that correctly. And it is this lovely village Christmassy motif. They also dye their own embroidery floss, which is what I've got down here, separated from my regular embroidery floss, so that I can use it for this project. And I thought at Christmas I would pick this up, but I have found it a little bit more tricky to cross stitch than knit with a baby. So this is why I am so far. So I've got some Christmas trees and the kind of central sparkly star, and it is nice. This is, I have no idea what count of fabric, but it's definitely quite tricky compared to regular Aida that you would use for cross stitch. So I'm having to guess a little bit sometimes whereabouts I need to put my needle to be able to make a cross that's the same size as the rest. But overall enjoying it otherwise. There isn't too much detail, I would say. Like, it's not like a full art all over cross stitch. You've got some white spaces in between, so I think it's going to be quite nice and relaxed to stitch. And I'm really liking the chilled cross stitch at the moment when I actually have a chance to do it, which is usually after about 9 p.m. in the evening, when my daughter goes to sleep for the night. Yeah, I can't remember exactly what the shop was called, but I'll link it in the description below because I should be able to find it again. And they've got a website too, all in Dutch, but really nice to look at the different cross stitch designs that they've produced. I think she's getting a little antsy, so I'm gonna have a bit of a break. Yeah? Yeah? And then I will run through my acquisitions after that. I think I'm okay to go back to recording, although you will probably hear my daughter talking to herself in the background. She does like to entertain herself and chat, but also smile at me when I look over at her. So I finished works in progress, and I'm now on to my acquisitions. The first one was actually not a Christmas one, it was for my birthday. I got a bit of money and I decided to pick up Softly Timeless Knits by Sari Nordland. Now a lot of these are really lovely cabled garments that I would love to knit. I'm just trying to think, the ones that I would pick out, having a look at the front, are, there's a Sopo. So yeah, this is what it looks like. The only thing that annoys me is that it's another drop shoulder, and I'm just not good with drop shoulders. I might be persuaded because it's a cardigan rather than a sweater, so the kind of more relaxed open fit probably works. So that's probably one I'm quite excited about. But overall I'm really looking forward to working on some really lovely cabled textured garments. There's this one, which is the Nilo, which is another cabled cardigan but a more traditional button-up one, and loads of really lovely knits in here that I'm going to enjoy making. I also got quite a few bits and pieces for Christmas, mainly because my husband didn't really know what to get me, wanted to get me something for myself. So the first one is a Vicar Space embroidery kit. This one is the Gemstone Valley kit, and it comes with everything you need to make it. It's a satin stitch embroidery kit. You can see I've got the printed fabric there. And I've done a couple of these before. I really like them. This is a Vicar Space one up here, and yeah, I thought I'd enjoy having another one to do because it's quite nice and relaxing. Satin stitch embroidery is so simple, so I'm excited to give that another go. I also got a cross stitch kit from my sister, which surprised me. So she lives in Harrogate, and there is an artist up there called Lucy Pittaway, and she has a gallery in Harrogate, and I've had many things from my sister from that gallery because she includes a lot of sheep in her art. So she got me this year the Sycamore Gap cross stitch kit. Now this is the original artwork on the front. It includes pre-cut fabric, instructions, cotton and a stitch diagram, and it's made by Bothy Threads. And the cross stitch design will look something like this. So it's an all over cross stitch, which is going to be quite a mission to complete, but I don't think it's very big. And 14 count, finished size is 26 by 26 centimeters, so not huge, but that will be really fun, I think, to stitch, especially because the artwork is so cool and unique. I also got a number of knitting books for Christmas. So I haven't knit a gnome for a long time, but I asked for Gnomes of Grimblewood because I'd love to work through this. This will be absolutely fantastic. So I'm looking forward to making a few of these. I have quite a few gnomes around the house actually that are all done differently. All the same designer, Sarah Shearer, which is the designer of this book, and she often does a gnome mystery knit along every year that I've taken part in a couple of times. So this will be so much fun, and you can work them on different types of yarn, different thicknesses. They're great for mini skeins as well if you've got 4-ply mini skeins. And yeah, looking forward to using that. My parents also got me Knits to Wear by Veronica Lindberg, and I'm excited about some of the patterns in here as well because I follow her on YouTube as Kotova Kika. There's some gorgeous colour work ones, for example this one, and then some textured designs as well, and it just adds to my Liner Publishing collection of books too. And then finally I also got the Doodle Directory by Jamie Lomax. So she does all of the doodle cowls and things with the different designs. So I think there's Mountain, there's a Rhinebeck one, there's also little doodle cards that you can use in your colourwork patterns. I was really intrigued about this scarf or cowl, I think, because it's got a whole load of different things almost kind of following through the seasons, and I saw that the book was available. There's loads and loads of different motifs, so it's like a colourwork motif dictionary at the same time as having that pattern. The I think it's the doodle scarf here. I'll show you. There you go. That I really want to make, but I'd need to figure out what yarn I'm going to use for that. And then yeah, there's a few more patterns too. There's a hat, headband, mittens, a few little patterns in the back, fingerless mitts, and some socks in DK. Yeah, so I'll be making a lot of use of that one as well. So yeah, lots of books to share with you at the moment. Finally, I also got something that I haven't tried out yet. So a long time ago I watched a Le Garçon podcast where they talked about making I-cord and then using that I-cord to knit a blanket with a really big needle size. So that will help using up, you know, random skeins of fingering weight that you think are really special but you don't know what to do with. And I found it a lovely idea to create like a gradient and have this really super chunky blanket. But I didn't have an I-cord maker and I wasn't sure what to get at the time. I decided to not bother. And then I saw one on Instagram that is an electric one, and that is this one here, the Kado I-cord maker. And my friend and I bought one. She's already tried hers. I'm going to give this a go and I will let you know how it turns out. I'm also intrigued with regards to making wire knitted letters, to kind of write out a name basically. And there's things like Christmas decorations that you can do with the wire and an I-cord, all sorts of stuff. So that will be a journey I go on at some point. Again, I'm limited in my time right now, so I'll have to see how I get on, but I'm excited to give this a go. Just to wrap up this podcast, as I'm going to have to go attend to my daughter again, I am really happy to be back. I hope I can record semi-regularly again. I'll probably try and do it on a Saturday so that my husband can look after the little one and I can record rather than having her next to me distracting me. Just wanted to give a shout out to my friend Chloe, who is Country Witch Crafts on Instagram and on YouTube. She has just started her own craft channel on YouTube and is publishing videos for her podcast now. Go check her out. She is awesome. She's part of my craft group and she's great. So go and do that. She's got lots of really useful videos up so far. One on her scrap management system, which you can go and check out, and then also on her goals for 2025. Additionally, in terms of goals for 2025, I am not going to burden myself with any crafty goals this year. I have a very simple goal, which is to look after myself, look after my daughter, and craft for pleasure. So when I get a chance to, I want to craft for pleasure, not give myself goals that I then feel like I have to work towards. So that's quite different for me, as I do like having targets at the start of the year, but this year's going to be different. So that is that really. Thanks again for watching, especially if you've made it all the way through, and I will be back, I hope. Really appreciate everybody who's hung around during my hiatus, and look out for my life episode, which I hope to record this weekend and get published soon. Thanks for watching. Have a lovely crafty time. Bye.